I learned so much after building our first baby registry that I want to share with you some tips on building a baby registry, some regrets I have, as well as some things that I wish I would have known. The first thing that you need to do when you are going to build your baby registry is figure out where you're going to register. I would suggest that you don't just register in one place, but I'm going to explain. You're going to want to do your research on the benefits of different registries. Some have free gifts if you register with them. Some have completion discounts. I personally love the strategy that I went with and do not regret it at all. And we'll do it again for baby number 2 because I am expecting baby number 2 here this winter. And that is to register at Babylist. And I like Babylist because you can link products on any website and it is all one easy to use interface. Although I will say that some people do have a little bit of difficulty in navigating, marking that they purchased a gift and that whole process. But I really appreciate the fact that if I want to register for a certain item that's available at multiple different websites, it will list out on my baby registry the different places that a gift giver can purchase that item from, and it will also list the prices that it's available at each of those places. So maybe one place it's a lot cheaper, and as somebody who has purchased gifts for other people who are having babies, I really appreciate that. I like to purchase things from certain places that I might have personal discounts at or have coupons for or gift cards that I want to use up, or it's just easier to bundle multiple items from the same store and give a gift with a few small things in it. So Babylist is really great in that sense that you don't have to commit to just one store. They do offer a completion discount as well as a free gift. It's a baby box bundle. And I am planning on sharing a whole nother video on how you can get a bunch of free baby products, but good to know that Babylist is one of those places that you can get a free gift. So that's what I would suggest for your main registry, the one that you're going to share. Maybe you're going to put it on a baby shower invitation or send it out to friends and family. I would make one public facing registry, but I would also suggest signing up for registries at other stores as well. Target comes to mind, Amazon, Walmart. Some of those have great completion discounts as well and have some free gifts that you can get. So I would create those registries just for yourself. If there are things that you're thinking about purchasing, or you can always do it after you've had your shower and put the items that you didn't receive, and then you can go in and purchase them or get a completion discount later with those items that nobody else bought for you. But I would suggest just sharing one and keeping it as simple as possible. Now, there's no perfect time to start a baby registry. I personally would recommend starting early. Once you're feeling comfortable in your pregnancy, it can be a really exciting step to build a baby registry. A lot of these allow you to keep your registry private until you're ready to share it. So you don't need to announce to anybody that you've started your baby registry really, really early on in your pregnancy if you're not comfortable doing that and you want to keep it to yourself for a bit, especially as you add things and remove things and do research. I did that with my first, and I'm currently working on building a smaller registry, of course, with my second, and I'm keeping it completely private right now. I don't know if we're going to do a shower or a sprinkler or anything, but at this point it will be for me to know things that I want to purchase and again to get that completion discount. So start as early as you want, and I think there's no harm with starting extra early and getting a jump start on it. In terms of how many things to add, what types of things to add, this can be really complicated because you want to strike a fine balance. I love the concept of adding things in phases. Again, Babylist does a great job of this. It has categories of different items that people can purchase. So it has categories for travel and for nursery decor and for health and for transportation and for bath time. But it also has one category that is private. So you can make the rest of your registry public, but keep a section of it that is private. That way you can put the most important things on your baby registry out there in the public for people to purchase. And then if things get purchased up quickly and you feel as if you need to add more, so your friends and family have things to purchase that you're actually interested in receiving, then you can just replenish things from your private list that are ready to go. And it's kind of like the B team of items that you want that are nice to have things, but they're not your must-have items. Keep in mind that the things that you might consider a must-have might not be things that others are interested in purchasing for you. For me personally, a lot of the must-have items, beyond the really big ticket items like a car seat or a bassinet, those types of things. There were a lot of must-have items that I felt like I need this for my baby that were very practical items that's not as exciting for people to purchase for you. So things like a mattress protector or different baby medicines, anything like that may not be as exciting for people to get. So just know that those items might not get purchased as readily as some other more exciting, cute little baby items that you think of. And those would be great items for you to purchase on your own with one of those completion discounts. The other thing that I'll mention is you want to have enough items on your registry. I know it can feel weird adding a lot because you don't want to seem like you're asking for too much, but you want to have enough on there if you truly want people to stick to your registry, that they have enough items that they feel excited to get you something and feel like they're picking something out for you and it's coming from them and they're thoughtful in what they're doing. Because sometimes if you have a very small registry and there's just a couple of items for them to pick from, they might not like any of those items. It also might not be in their price point. So you want to have a variance of price points, a variance of different stores that they can purchase from. Some people still like purchasing in store. Others like purchasing online, and sometimes certain stores might have a shipping fee associated with shopping online that a gift giver might not be interested in purchasing from them if they have to pay for shipping. So if you have everything from one store or all in one price range, that can really limit people and they'll have more of a tendency to go off registry. Now let's talk about the actual items that go in your baby registry and where you're going to get ideas. There are so many checklists out there online that you can find that are a great starting point just to make sure you're getting all of the things you feel you need. I'm going to, in general, say most people probably end up feeling like they over-registered and had a sense of needing something, but didn't actually need it once their baby arrived. It is so hard to perfectly hit the nail on the head with your baby registry. And you might think that you are, and I wish I could help you hit the nail on the head just perfectly with all of these tips and tricks. There are also going to be preferences that your baby has. You might not know what your parenting style is going to be and what you're going to like and what you're not going to like. I had a few things that fell under that category for me of it was just kind of inevitable that there are some things that aren't going to pan out. I remember I bought a car seat and nursing cover, this whole combination, and never used it. I just felt comfortable putting a blanket over my shoulder to nurse baby in public, or a lot of times I would do the two shirt method. So I would wear a nursing cami with a larger shirt over and be able to stick my baby under the shirt there and just never use that nursing cover. Also never used it as a car seat cover. We did sometimes throw a blanket over him, but never made that full cocoon with the car seat cover. I also found that I liked washing bottles by hand with our first baby and got one of those dishwasher baskets to wash bottle parts and didn't like putting baby bottles in the dishwasher. Totally fine if you do, lots and lots of people do. I just preferred to wash them by hand, so never used the dishwasher basket that I got. We also got a splat mat for the high chair, and it ended up being more of a hassle, I felt like, to wash that off and to fit it into our sink and then find a place for it to dry out than just letting him drop some food on the floor and sweeping, mopping, using a rag and wiping it up that way. All of those are just examples of things that I never would have known. I probably anticipated I was going to be using those things all the time and they just didn't work out, and that's okay. The other thing you're going to find is you're going to get a lot of advice from others, whether it's unsolicited or solicited advice. It can be very confusing when you hear lots of different things from friends. I had some friends saying this was my absolute favorite thing from when I had a newborn. You have to get this. It has to be on your baby registry. And it ended up being one of the items that I never used and never touched. There were a couple of things that one of my friends recommended for the winter time. One was those stroller hand muffs. They're like gloves, but they attach to the stroller. I always found myself just wearing gloves and never using those stroller muffs. And the other one was this little wrap thing that you can put in a car seat or a stroller and wrap them up that way. Again, we just used blankets. So I registered for both of those things, got both of them, and never used them, even though they were one of my friends' most favorite baby items. And part of it can be circumstantial. Maybe our kids were born in slightly different times of the year, or just the fact that everyone has different preferences. So take everything with a grain of salt when you listen to friends and family and you're getting that advice. whether again you ask for it or you don't ask for it and they're just coming to you with things that you have to have on your baby registry. A great way to figure out what types of things you're going to want on your baby registry is to do a whole bunch of research. Look at reviews, look at videos of the products. I really liked, again, on Baby List, they have all of these guides for the top strollers, for example, in 2024 or whatever it is, and it gives you why each stroller is the best for travel, the best economical choice, the most luxury stroller. So you can figure out what fits best with your lifestyle and what you're looking for and do your research that way. So that I think is really important to do, is to read those reviews, figure out what's the best in each category based on what you're looking at. But also, when I say do your research, I specifically mean do your research on baby development and almost like what your parenting style is going to be, which again is hard to predict. But I wish I would have done that with our first. I didn't think too much about how I was going to introduce solids and what that was going to look like, because most babies don't start eating solids until about 6 months or so. So it felt very far into the future. I did register for some feeding items. A lot of them were trendy things or advice I got from friends and family that you'll need. And I didn't understand what style I was gonna go with. And if you are a new expecting parent, yes, there are different methods of introducing solids. It gets very complicated, but I, for example, registered for sippy cups, and we got all of these sippy cups and never touched them, because once I got to that point, I learned that there's no benefit to sippy cups. And this is just me personally. You can completely introduce sippy cups to your child if that's what you want to do, but I opted not to and went straight to open cups and straw cups with my child. It's great for their oral motor development. They're also life skills of drinking out of an open cup or a straw. Sippy cup really serves no purpose other than for the parents, that the liquid doesn't get poured all over the floor or wherever you're at. There are some straw cups that don't leak, but other than that, those sippy cups ended up being a waste. We also registered for a high chair that had so many great features to it, and still I think is a great high chair depending on what you're looking for. I just went a little bit more of the baby-led weaning route and found a bunch of research and information later on, after we'd already gotten our high chair, that it's really important for your child to have foot support when they're eating in their high chair. If you think about the way that we as adults eat, our feet aren't dangling from the chair, they're supported on the floor. And there is some research saying that it helps prevent choking if you give your child a solid footing. So I found out that I wanted a different high chair than we had registered for, already received, already unboxed, and all of that. So I wish I would have slowed down a little bit and projected into the future a tiny bit more. So feeding is a great place to investigate a bit more. Also, positioning, I'll say. Anything that's a sort of container for your baby is a little bit of a controversial topic as well. I would just suggest you look into it right now, create your own stance on it, and let that guide you as to what you register for. I'll explain quickly what I'm talking about. Some say there can be issues with baby's hips, like hip dysplasia with certain positioning devices. I registered for the Bumbo seat. Again, one of my friend's top baby items. She fed her baby in that, never really used a high chair. We never used it because I found some information about it that said it wasn't great for baby's hips, at least for prolonged periods of time. It freaked me out so much, I essentially never used it. You might learn that with certain baby carriers, and when you're learning how to put your baby in a baby carrier, you want to make sure that their hips are in a certain position that's good for them. Short periods of time are one thing, but long periods of time when your child's hips are out of whack can cause issues. You also in general just want to make sure your baby is not in a container for too much time. There can be issues with their heads getting flat, or if they favor one direction. There can be issues if they're placed in these containers for too long, but I wouldn't let that stop you completely from getting any of those items like swings and bouncers. We still used all of those things, and I'm happy I registered for them. I just used them sparingly and made sure my baby got lots of floor time. I mentioned just a minute ago about projecting into the future, but not too far into the future. I do regret thinking too far into the future. So an example is we registered for a car seat for our child after an infant car seat. Now we used the Doona. Highly recommend the Doona. We loved it, and I think it was completely worth it. but we registered for the next car seat after that. I didn't understand about car seat expirations. So once we purchased that convertible car seat, the clock kind of started ticking on the expiration date of the car seat. Also, something interesting that happened was that a new type of car seat developed that wasn't previously available when I was creating my baby registry, which is car seats that rotate. And let me tell you, car seats that rotate are a complete game changer, but we felt so guilty because we already had a convertible car seat and really wanted a rotating car seat. We'd already registered and received the convertible car seat. So it was a really big regret of mine that we registered for something that far in advance. Also keep in mind that you're gonna have your baby's first birthday, so things that would be applicable for your child around the age of 1, maybe hold off and ask for those things for your child's first birthday, or it could be something that you purchase for their first birthday. I'll also say that you will probably get flooded with gifts that are more applicable to the newborn age, so make sure in your registry you cater to that concept a little bit and register for items that are better for your child as they get older, so you're not left high and dry when you get to, say, 4 months old, and all of a sudden you're the one who has to purchase all of these items that you didn't think far enough in advance for. It's always exciting to buy the cute little things for newborns, but I would avoid registering for all of those little rattles, newborn swaddles, newborn outfits, all of that stuff, because you're gonna get those gifts anyway. So cater your registry to be for a slightly older age, but again, don't go too far into the future. Speaking of the things that you're just gonna get anyway, it's a great idea to think about the most common gifts when people go off registry, because you'll most likely just get those things for people who either choose specifically to go off registry knowing you have a registry, or there are oftentimes people that want to get you a gift and want to surprise you, don't know you have a registry. Maybe they're not invited to your baby shower. It might be a coworker that just wants to spoil you a little bit and celebrate the arrival of your new baby. So those things I would back off on your registry because they'll probably be things you get anyway. So some of the most common items we got were stuffed animals, books, little baby toys like I mentioned, those rattles, as well as baby blankets. You are probably gonna have blankets coming out of your ears. You're gonna have so many baby blankets. So if you wanna register for toys, my recommendation would be, number 1, Love Every toys are our favorite, and it kind of helps solve that problem that I was talking about before. Love Every has a play kit subscription service where the toys are delivered every few months and they're age appropriate for your child, and just make it kind of a no-brainer. I put that on my registry. It's a gift my high school friends got for me and I absolutely loved it. Another thing you could register for are specific toys that people might not think about, like bath toys, or again, toys for just a slightly older age. The last thing I'll say is to just think practically about all of the items. When are you going to use this thing? Are you actually going to use it? Can you envision yourself doing what's required with this item? We registered for a couple of things that I do regret in terms of this concept. Number 1, I said we had the Doona for our infant car seat. It was so convenient for travel. We took it on planes with us, but I also bought the Doona travel bag, the bag to put in it when you check the Doona on a flight or travel with it somewhere and you want to have it protected. I don't know why I did that, because the way that we were planning on using it was to put it on the plane. We opted to purchase a seat on the plane for our child when we flew with him, and we didn't need the travel bag, so it's still sitting in our storage room with all of the plastic on it and stuff because we've never used it, and now it's too late to return it. So I wasn't really thinking through what would be the instance in which we would use this. Another thing that I mean in terms of think practically, you might want to consider the lifespan or how long your child might use a certain item. Think about that in terms of how much you could be spending on something versus how long it's going to actually be useful. A mobile or specific nursery decor is great and really cute, but you might have to take it off of your crib so your child doesn't get distracted once they're a few months old. We registered for a mobile and I think it was the cutest thing ever, and I think we're gonna put baby number 2 in the same nursery and use it again. So I don't think it was a waste. I wouldn't say it was a regret, but just something to think through. So that's everything that I really think will help you to build your first baby registry. If this is your second time building a baby registry, I am planning on sharing what my registry is going to look like for baby number 2. Stay tuned for that. I'm still working on building it out, but I have a lot of ideas and things you might find helpful there. So I'm so glad you're here with me on this motherhood journey as together we make it sophisticated. But until next time, I will see you all later.